Hey everyone, welcome to That's Peculiar. I'm Nathan,
I'm Andra.
and I have a show tonight. If I can find
Brought
it.
to you from California and
I'm in
Ohio.
Cleveland. I'm in Cleveland.
Have you been to Cleveland?
Yeah, I've been here before, but it's actually like a long layover this time.
If I remember correctly, Cleveland is where Jerry Springer used to be.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. I had a buddy I worked with in Colorado that was actually on a episode of Jerry Springer.
Stop it.
But he was like, spoiler alert, it's not real. They just like pick up people from the street and have you like get a persona.
There's actually like a documentary, I think, where they talk about like it was supposed to be real and then somehow it like devolved into having to be manufactured.
Is that the Jerry Springer like biography? I feel like I just saw that.
It might be.
Okay.
I think I found it.
I'm drinking a Millier Pinot Noir right now.
Oh, yum.
It's delicious.
In a black sheet glass. So fun fact today is actually I'm staying in a haunted hotel.
What? Which one?
I'm not supposed to say for safety purposes because then they'll know that flight attendants stay here. But I will say I walked in and I went, oh, this place is haunted. And one of my crew members, she was like, no, don't say that. And then I was like, nope, definitely is. So then we were walking up and she's on the same floor as me. And we were walking down the hallway and I was like, yep, definitely haunted. And she's like, no, don't tell me that, I'm scared. And I turned around and there was an employee walking in the hall. And I said, I'm going to ask her. I said, hey, is this hotel haunted? And she just stops there in her tracks and she goes, and she starts laughing. Like she throws her head down and she's like, listen. Listen. I said, so it is. She goes, I plead the fifth.
Well, 1,000% I'll be Googling haunted hotels in that area.
The room is really tiny, so that's also indicative of an old hotel. So
yeah, I also really like how they're trying to make you feel like you're suffocating in a sweater.
I'm in a knitted sweater. Well, actually, it's funny that you say that because I just looked at the wall and I noticed that the wall art is actually an old sewing machine.
So are you in like Nana's old bedroom?
I guess so, but I want to say I'm pretty sure that all the rooms have the same artwork.
If you get visited by an old lady tonight, maybe she's nice.
We'll see. All right, are we ready?
Ready. What are we talking about? I have no idea.
Oh, you'll see. This is going to be more of a narrative story than the way we normally do it. I'm going to be just kind of like telling a story.
Oh, good.
How's that sound?
It's a great day for it.
Okay. All right. So the year is 1662.
Whoa.
The place is the parish of Aldern, a scattered community of crofts and farms in the Scottish Highlands, just a few miles inland from the Moray Firth.
Okay.
The land here is beautiful but hard. Winds lash the heather, the soil is stony, crops fail often, and hunger is always close by. This was a Scotland in crisis. Only a generation earlier, civil wars had torn the land apart. Royalists and Covenanters, Presbyterians and Episcopalians, each fighting not only for power, but for God himself.
Right.
The Kirk, Scotland's strict Presbyterian church, had emerged dominant, and it demanded not just worship, but absolute control over the moral lives of its people. Kirk elders summoned parishioners before them for every small sin, for missing sermons, for gossip, fornication, for drunkenness, and for working on the Sabbath. And above all that, they hunted for witches.
Right.
Because the devil was everywhere, in the fields, in the hearth, in the cradle. When a cow sickened, when bar- when barley spoiled. Sorry, my eye is really blurry right now, and I don't know why.
Okay.
So when cows sickened, when barley spoiled, and when ale turned sour, when children wasted away, the devil's hand was blamed. And if the
Not
devil was at work, huh?
the ale.
Not the ale, not a
The
sour.
devil did it.
And if the devil was at work, someone must have helped him.
Right.
A witch.
This is crazy because I think we actually both have an episode on the same person. Oh, hold on. Is this Florence Newton?
No, it's not.
Oh, that is crazy. I just have an episode very similar to this on Florence Newton.
Oh, interesting. Well, I guess when we get there, we'll get there.
She's a in Scotland, I think, as well.
Interesting.
I'm going out to it.
All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's so fun. Sorry, keep going.
the devil was at work, which is a witch.
Right.
It was in this world of hunger, fear, and suspicion that one woman stepped into history. Her name was Isabel Gowdy.
Isabel Gowdy. It's Isobel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To understand why Isabel's words mattered, you must understand her Scotland. The 17th century was an age of upheaval.
Mm-hmm.
The Protestant Reformation had shattered the old Catholic faith a century earlier, smashing monasteries, toppling saints from their niches, and silencing the Mass. In its place, the kirk rose, austere, watchful, and unforgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Ministers thundered from pulpits about sin and Satan.
Right.
They spoke of a world where the devil was not a distant threat, but an active anemone. Where the devil was an active enemy, always prowling and always seeking souls.
And Protestants believed, I think Puritans also believed, which is an extended version of Protestants, right? That women should be like seen, not heard.
So here's one of the things as like growing up Christian, I cannot tell you the difference between I need to do a deep dive on this because I can't tell you the difference between a Baptist versus Presbyterian versus a Lutheran. There's just so much.
I think Protestants is like the way I understand it is it's sort of like a subdivision of, I might be wrong, Catholics that are supposed to be like taking themselves at like a higher standard. I don't know.
You know what? You say that and that sounds familiar because I feel like Ross recently told me that Protestant was similar to Catholicism.
Yeah, and then I think Puritans took Protestant like 3 steps further. But they're all corrupted in their own ways. It's just like, I think that's how it went. Like Protestant wanted like a clean world and like had a different view of like what that looked like.
Yeah, perhaps. So I mean, I will do an episode that will draw parallels probably because it's just there's a lot. So much. And they all have like the same but different beliefs. It's a strange world.
Okay, so final answer. It is separated from the Roman Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of the Christian churches during the Reformation and Bible. Yeah, so they went off of like the Bible authority and personal relationship with God. I don't know why, but what's popping in my head in here, do you remember Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Of course.
I think the guy going after the gypsy was Protestant.
Was it Protestant? It wasn't Catholic? Are you sure it wasn't Catholic? I think it
She
was Catholic.
runs into a Catholic church for sanctuary. But I think what he actually is Protestant. Because they were trying to, like, get rid of all the people that were, like, different, including the hunchback. But he worked in, like, a Catholic church. He was Catholic. So I think they were actually, I'm probably wrong, but I think they're Protestant. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
And his name was Frollo, by the way.
For real?
Frollo.
Ew. That's too close
Frollo.
to YOLO.
Frollo. His name was
And
Frollo. Yeah.
he had a bowl haircut and wore the ugliest hat I've ever seen in my life.
His hat and robes.
And his face. You know who I didn't have a crush on as a kid? I
Frollo?
probably liked the Hunchback of Notre Dame before I liked Frollo.
Well, yeah, because the Hunchback, Quasimodo had such a great personality.
He truly did. And he was a gem, saving that gorgeous gypsy with her green eyes.
Anyway, all right. Yeah. Back to Reformation Scotland.
Sorry.
All right, we're in Reformation Scotland, and the Kirk is above all. All right. At the same time, war ravaged the land.
Right.
The Covenanting Wars, part of the larger British Civil Wars, pitted neighbor against neighbor, town against town, and armies tramped through fields, taking what they pleased. Men were conscripted, and families were divided. Famine followed the war. Harvest failed again and again in the 1640s and the 1650s.
Mm-hmm.
Plague returned in waves. In the Highlands, poverty was crushing. Families survived on oats, kale, and scraps of meat. A failed harvest could mean death. This is the world that Isabel knew, a world where misfortune demanded explanation, and where the explanation was often witchcraft. Scotland was one of the deadliest places in Europe for accused witches. Between the mid-1500s and the early 1700s, more than 3,800 people were tried for witchcraft. 2/3 of them were women. Of those convicted, nearly 2/3 were executed.
Of course they were, because they literally would drown them and say if they lived, they weren't a witch.
Oh, if you can swim, you're a witch. And if you drowned, sorry.
Yeah.
I always thought that was silly. Anyway, so the machinery of accusation was ruthless. It often began with a quarrel, a muttered curse shouted in anger. The devil go with you. That's what they would normally say. If
I hope
misfortune...
you get chicken pox.
Chicken pox!
Chicken! No.
Put your finger away. Actually, it's coming. The second one's coming out. I'm so excited.
I know. It's too exciting because that movie. I actually had chicken pox when I saw it for the first time in theater because my mom is my mom, and yeah,
no,
yeah, I had chicken pox head to toe in theater, and my mom's just like, well, "Let's go to the movies."
So, if you were to say the devil go with you, if misfortune followed, if a cow died, if a child fell ill, suspicion would grow. Neighbors whispered, and soon the accused was summoned before the Kirk session. Interrogations followed, witnesses gave testimony, and sometimes the accused confessed. Freely, under pressure, or under torture.
Literally under torture.
Literally under torture. Sleep deprivation, isolation, and pricking of witch marks, any means to be used to breed resistance. But in Isabel Gowdie's case, something strange happened. Her confessions, historians note, do not appear to have been forced. There is no record of torture, no mention of pricking, or binding, or deprivation. Instead, when she spoke, she poured out words, vivid, detailed, and almost eager. She gave the Kirk
so familiar.
Gave the Kirk.
Sorry. For anyone who doesn't know, the pricking Wasn't that where they used to literally, like, where they thought you might have a spot, they'd, like, push on it, and if it turned, like, a different color, they'd literally, like, prick you there and see if it bled, and if it bled, you were a witch. It was, like, some stupid shit like that.
Well, if you prick me, I'm gonna bleed.
It
I'm a witch!
Yeah. All their standards of that stuff was, like, backwards. It was like, if you
So,
didn't bleed, you weren't a witch, and it's like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I think
I
was
think
pricking was something like that, I think.
I honestly that also was what makes me so happy about like uh the Holy Grail when they do the whole like we found a witch
Mhm.
and he's like what lies in the air? A duck. And what do ducks do? Float in water. So if she's lighter than water, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the words, the
There is
script.
this
Anyway,
strange bug crawling on my
do you want to get it?
No, not even a little bit.
Okay. So she gave the Kirk not only the answers they wanted, but far, far more.
Mhm.
Aldern Parish in the 1660s was a quiet, scattered place, a few hundred souls, mostly tenant farmers living on rented land. Isabel herself was married to a man named John Gilbert, a tenant farmer at Loch Loy. Together they lived in poverty, like most of their neighbors, and she would have spent her days spinning wool, tending to a small garden, cooking oats and broth, and caring for children, if she had them,
Right.
helping in the fields when needed. Her world was small, bounded by
Mhm.
the rhythms of the kirk, the gossip of the neighbors, and the toil of the land. But when she spoke in 1662, again, her words conjured a universe vast and strange. On April 13th of 1662, Isabel Gowdy gave her first confession. She told of how she met the devil. And these were her words.
Mhm.
As I was going betwixt the town of Scotland. No, sorry. I tried. I can't do it. I can't do it. Scottish accent's not for me. As I was going betwixt the towns of Drumdivin and the Heads, I met with the devil. I denied my baptism and put my hand betwixt his hands, and renounced all betwixt my two hands to him. He marked me on the shoulder, and sucked out my blood, and said, I baptize thee, Janet, in my own name.
Janet.
Janet.
All right.
Uh-huh. With those words, she said, she had rejected Christ and taken a new baptism in the devil's name. He gave her a new name, Janet.
Yeah.
He marked her body, and he drank her blood. She described him not as a beast, but as a man, a well-favored man, she said,
No.
though his touch was cold as ice. And with that, she told him she had become his servant. This was enough to seal her fate, but Isabel was only beginning. In the weeks to come, she would give 3 more confessions, each one stranger, richer, and more extraordinary.
Blaming other people.
She would speak of familiars with names,
Mhm.
enchanted straw horses, shape-shifting into hares, and feasts with the devil. She would describe curses that withered crops, illnesses that killed men, and visits to the fairy court beneath the hills.
Oh my god, I know who this is. They thought she might have a mental illness.
Or was she a witch?
Keep going. Oh, I remember this because I kept thinking, like, man. And then
She sounds so familiar.
with Jonathan Gilbert, I was thinking, like, is this a story in Vampire Diaries?
Diana.
No, not that one.
I know.
Elena.
Her words would astonish her interrogators, and they would astonish scholars centuries later. But in April of 1662, this was only the beginning. When Isabel Gowdy spoke her first confession in April 1662, she shocked her interrogators. She told him she had met the devil between two farms, renounced her baptism, and was rebaptized in his name.
Right.
Janet.
Janet.
That alone was enough to damn her, but she came back and spoke again.
Mm-hmm.
What came next was unlike anything else in the Scottish witch trials. Unlike anything else in Europe, actually. Isabel gave them spells, incantations, descriptions of animals, fairies, and feasts. Her words were not just accusations or admissions, they were poetry.
Mm-hmm. I want to live in her brain.
Right?
I really like the name Isabel. Nothing against any Janets in the world. I just
Isabel's way better than Janet.
I was, I know some Janets and they're very cool. But
that's great. I love a Janet too, but like when you're a witch, Isabel's way better than Janet.
I would also go by Jane and not Janet.
That's good. Yeah. If I was a witch, I wouldn't want to be a Janet. I'm sorry. Janet, if you're a witch, change your name.
To Isabel.
Isabel. A little switcheroony. Love it. In her second confession, Isabel described her coven in detail. There were 13 witches, she said. Each had a spirit familiar given to them by the devil. Hers was named the Raid River. Others had beings in the shapes of cats, crows, and even insects. These spirits were their helpers. They were not vague shadows. They had names, personalities, and powers. With their aid, the witches cursed neighbors, blighted crops, and tormented livestock. She told her interrogators that the witches met at night, sometimes in homes, sometimes on the moors. They danced hand in hand, circling and chanting. And when they traveled, they rode not horses, but enchanted straw.
Wow.
Horse and haddock in the devil's name, up and away we shall go. Horse and haddock over the dale, horse and haddock over the hill. With these words, she said, they could mount a straw rope, a broom, or even a stock, and it would become a horse. They rode through the night sky to their meetings.
That sounds fantastic.
I mean, if that's all it takes, that's all I gotta say.
But I'm also going to say, like, on a different note, let's just play devil's advocate here. If she is not
devil's advocate,
hilarious. If she is not a witch and she is just fucking with them knowing she's going to die anyways.
Honestly, possibly. I mean, if you in that time period, if someone was like, "She's a witch," and you go like this, you're like, "Damn it!" Well, might as well have some fun with it.
Let me just tell you everything. And now she's like a staple for what witches are: familiars, flying on brooms, and.
Since I'm gonna die anyway.
Yeah, let me just hash this all out real quick. How much will you believe?
Given the amount of sarcasm that we like, whenever you read like an old joke from the old times or you read jokes today, there is a similar sarcasm and humor and a dryness. And I think the key is the dryness.
Yeah.
Because when you're dry, people will believe you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're an idiot.
I have a dry sense of humor, as you know.
I know.
And people, I could say almost anything to some people and they'll be like,
really?
Yeah. And I'm like, no, not even a little bit. Can you imagine me on a witch trial? I'd just be like, all right.
Oh my God. You would so be tried for witchery.
Oh, I would have died when I was born. Like, they would have been like, Jesus, look how big her eyes are.
Your eyes are the size of the moon. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is, hold on. Your eyes are the size of the moon.
You could, because you can't say you do. Something like that.
That is
Feeling so good, just the way that you do, because it's 9 in the afternoon.
What is their name?
Panic at the Disco.
Thank you. I
You're
used to
welcome.
hate them, but I actually appreciate them more as an adult.
Oh, really? They're amazing.
Yeah. I really liked them, but when I was younger, I didn't feel that way.
What in the world what is happening with my eyeball? Sorry, I digress. Isabel gave one of her most famous spells a charm that would turn her into a hare. I shall go into a hare, with sorrow and sick and meekle care, and I shall go in the devil's name. I will I come home again. And I'm still a person, not a hare.
Well, maybe you had the wrong incantation, or maybe there's something with it. Hold on.
So with these words, she said, she could slip into the shape of a hare, bounding through the fields. If dogs or hunters wounded her in that form, the scars would remain when she returned to her human flesh. To undo the spell, she gave another verse. Hare, hare, God send thee care. I am in a hare's likeness now, but I shall be a woman even now. These spells are really crappy.
But they're plausible. That's the thing with spells. The more I learn about them, the more they're like, say what you want.
You know, for me, most of what I'm understanding about when you do spell work or anything like that, it's more about the intention behind the
Yeah.
words. It's like everybody. There's so many people they talk about, and this is one of the similarity things. You talk about prayer and the healing ability. What is a
Right.
prayer but an incantation or a spell into trying to get what you want? And you
Yeah.
say what you want. And you believe that the outcome of what you want will happen.
Yeah.
Which is another form of manifestation, which is the secret, which is all of this universal knowledge.
Which is a lot of things intertwined.
Yeah. It's so so for witches, it's an incantation or a spell. For Christians, it's praying and
Prayer.
asking God's help. There's so
For
many
scientists,
similarities.
it's a hypothesis with a
It's
conclusion.
yes, but scientists do experimentation.
Right. It's their hypothesis asking a question that they go through the scientific method to follow
Yes.
it up. Yeah. Which is like
It's
essentially the same thing as like stirring a pot clockwise or getting on your knees and praying or doing your Hail Marys or
it's for my understanding, everything always comes down to intention of what you're saying.
right.
Intention of what you're doing. When you're praying, you're focusing.
Right.
When you're doing your spell work, you're focusing. There's a specific way you do things every time you do your spell.
Right.
There's a specific time that you pray, a specific way that you pray, a specific wording. Everything is so specific, and everybody gets so hung up on
On
like
specifics.
if it's God. No, they get so hung up if it's God, if it's the devil, if it's nature, if it's spirit, if it's universe. Like there's
Right.
it's
Who's
all
behind it?
it's all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Right.
So these were no ordinary confessions. So elsewhere in Europe, witches might admit, under torture, to flying with the devil or cursing their neighbors, but nowhere else do we hear such precise spells, rhymed and rhythmic, echoing folk songs and charms. Scholars later realized that Isabel had preserved fragments of an older oral tradition. Without her words, these incantations would likely have vanished forever.
Mm-hmm.
In her third confession, Isabel turned darker. She told of specific curses. A farmer whose barley she despised. I don't know why you despise barley, but apparently she did. She and her coven danced in the fields at night, chanting until the crop withered. She claimed that she had soured ale in its vat, spoiled butter in its churn, and stolen milk from cows by chanting spells into ropes. Do you want to get that? She admitted to causing miscarriages.
Oh my god!
Striking down men with sudden fever and wasting disease. And she said in her own words, I deserve not to be sitting here, for I have done so many evil deeds, especially killing of men. I deserve to be riven upon iron harrows, and worse if it could be devised.
Especially of killing of men. What about the babies?
What about the miscarriages?
Yeah, and some of them could have been male.
Some of the men also, most of them, probably deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Men suck. So going back to if it was ever a choice, would I choose to be gay? Absolutely the fuck not. But I found a good one, so I'm not mad.
Yeah. Me either.
So here was a woman that not only confessed, but she was condemning herself. She told them she deserved worse than torture and worse than death. Then her words shifted to feasts. She said the witches gathered at night in ruined churches and hidden glens. The devil presided, laying out food, bread, cheese, butter, roasted meat, and wine. They ate, they drank, they danced, they parodied baptisms, they mocked the sacraments of the church. And she said the devil himself took her as his lover.
Oh, wow.
His
Spicy.
embrace, for real, his embrace, she told them, was rough, his touch cold as ice, his seed like cold water. It left her bruised and sore.
Ooh.
This is giving Edward Cullen.
This is giving a lot bigger smut in the books I read than Edward Cullen.
Yeah, that's true. These were shocking words for a woman in the 17th century Scotland. Blasphemous, sexual, raw. Her interrogators must have been stunned. I mean, talking about someone's seed being cold.
I don't. Yeah. This is reminding me. This girl on Instagram, her name's Summer, and I'm sorry I don't know her full handle, but she does like books she reads. She
Oh,
recommended a
yeah.
book called Slewfoot to us.
Slewfoot?
Slewfoot, yeah, and I'm actually currently listening to it on Audible, and it's a very similar telling of just that portion, the dirty part. There's more
Okay.
to it, but there is a lot of that.
Wait, have you read Aquatar?
Yeah.
Okay,
Of course,
cool.
I've read A Court of Thorns and Roses.
I just had to make sure.
That is actually how I got the name William. I read the last book, and even though there's no William in there, Jack had been telling me William, 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 and then they fight that battle. And I was like, yeah, William sounds good.
What the?
I was pregnant. I was super pregnant. So.
Oh, good. Love those books. And then I started reading the Assassin Throne of Glass series. I'm in it right now.
I haven't started yet. I started reading Brandon Sanderson.
It's okay. If you want smut, don't read the Throne of Glass.
I don't mind no smut. We'll try it.
It's still a great story, great world building, but I will tell you, not smutty.
Okay. I also think A Court of Thorns and Roses is like low end smut.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. There's like no smut, like zero, zilch.
Okay. Same with
And I'm
Brandon
almost done.
Sanderson.
Cool, we'll read him. Back to what we were talking about.
Take 5.
In her fourth and final confession, Isabel went beyond the devil. She spoke of fairies. She described visiting the court of the Queen of Elfane, a fairy queen who ruled beneath the hills. There, she said, were banquets, music, and splendor. A fairy queen, a fairy king and his nobles, a court as grand as any court on earth, which was extraordinary. Most witches in Scotland spoke only of the devil, but Isabel spoke of both devil and fairy, blending Christian demonology with the older folklore
Mm-hmm.
of the Highlands. In her voice, the boundaries between the worlds blurred. The devil, the witches, the fairies, all part of a single shadowy cosmos.
Shadowy
And,
cosmos.
and in nothing. Her fourth confession, the records fall silent. We don't actually know what happened to Isabel Gowdy. Almost certainly she was executed,
Mm-hmm.
strangled at the stake, then burned,
Mm-hmm.
like so many others. 9 out of 10 accused witches in Scotland were, but her sentence was actually never recorded. She vanished from history as suddenly as she appeared. But her words survived. They were copied into official records and persevered. Centuries later, antiquarians rediscovered them and they were astonished. 19th century scholars called them unparalleled. 20th century folklorists declared them the most remarkable documents in the history of witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Some believe she persevered. Nope. Some believe that she preserved fragments of an ancient pagan rites, and others dismissed that as fantasy, but still marveled at the richness of her imagination.
Right.
Artists were also captivated. The composer James Macmillan wrote a symphony inspired by her confessions. Playwrights and novelists have retold her story, and she became known as the Witch Queen of Scotland.
Right.
Unlike, unlike so many accused witches who left nothing behind, Isabel had left her words. Words of spells, words of curses, and words of strange beauty and terror. I shall go into a hair with sorrow, psyche, and meekle care, and I shall go into the devil's name while I come home again. This is her legacy, not her grave, not her innocence, and not her guilt, just her words. Words that became a curse, a confession, and a story that will never die.
Maybe that's why they never recorded the last confession. Maybe it got too graphic.
It could have been. They were like, "This is insane." Like what you said is they thought she had a mental disorder. They're like, "Yeah, no, she's just crazy."
Yeah, so that's actually like some people that have studied the history, like you said, have marveled in her like storytelling and thought she was just like great, but they think that she possibly believed and was like somewhat coerced into it. That's what I read. And then there's other people, I think, on this same girl who think like all of that, like you said, it could be paganism that's getting like saved. And maybe she did embellish some of, maybe it's a combination. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I
Okay,
think,
okay. You're saying all these maybes, but like in your opinion, what do you think it really was?
you want my opinion?
Yes, I want to know. Tell me what do you really think?
Well, I don't really believe in making deals with the devil.
Why?
I just don't. I'm not so sure that it goes that far. So I think, if anything, I might be more of a naturalist paganist. So, like, I
Okay.
believe in the earth,
More
the
about
turning
the
into the
rhythms.
hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like herbal medicine and tinctures and all of that.
Yeah. Like
So,
the earth provides everything we need.
yeah, I sort of think I'm on the side of she embellished some. And there's a part of me that's like, I kind of hope she knew she was embellishing just to like mess with them. And maybe that's why the fourth one isn't even recorded.
But they were like, yeah.
And they were like, okay, this has gotten too far. But I also think to some extent there is some truth in the fact that like some of these rituals could be saved from paganistic views. I just don't. Everything I've read about from early paganism beliefs, like even the creation story isn't necessarily based on like a devil or a god. It's a tree. Right? Pretty sure it's a tree. At least one of the creation stories I read.
Creation story from who?
Well, the creation story I'm thinking of, it was pre-Bible date, so I'm assuming it's a paganistic. I don't know. We studied it in
Are you
like
talking
a
about like the
historian.
tree of life?
Possibly. I don't think so though. And then we also studied the like Iloquis of something, which is like a Native American belief of the creation story.
Okay.
Which was like turtles started the beginning of the world.
We're on the back of the turtles.
Yeah. So there's like all these different versions, and my whole point of all of this is I'm not so sure it's all truth.
Well, that's part of the human condition is we really don't know what's truth. You can believe whatever you want, but you really won't know until you die. Maybe there's actually nothing.
Maybe we are all in a simulation.
Maybe we're all in a simulation. There's so many, and I think that's what is the most intriguing part about being human is we really don't know what happens when we die. There's no proof. There's nothing. We really, you don't know.
If we are in a simulation, like, why is everybody's main character that's playing better than my character that's playing me?
Wow, that's really self-deprecating. Okay, if you want to go there.
No, I am very happy with my life. I just, the feeling of like other people being ahead of you.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, God, this is just a different episode. Why are we talking about this right now?
We'll be quick. Did you ever play Sims?
Yes,
and you could be an artist for like $20 a day, a fashion designer for $80.
Yeah.
The construction worker for like $120.
Here's the thing. If you are actually a simulation as a sim would be, that would mean that the person controlling you has done a bunch of other stuff before, and now you're the character they're playing now.
Right. Like traveling.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that anybody's better. This is the experience that the person who's controlling you, quote unquote, has decided to play this round.
I am digressing, I know, but like, how crazy is it to be like that conspiracy? Have you dove into it of being like a simulation? Then playing a simulation?
Yes, I know.
And then
how do you
think a simulation? Sometimes they get on the computer and they're playing simulation.
And they play a game.
Literally, it feels like when you're in one of those mirror houses with a mirror behind you and you see like 87 versions of yourself going backwards.
Yeah. That's why it's such a weird being a human is a strange experience because we don't know truly as a species or as a earth or whatever. We truly do not actually know where we came from, why we're here, or where we go when it's all finished. We really don't know.
Right.
We have theories.
Yeah.
We have
the evolution theory.
Yes, we have theories. We have books written by men, quote unquote, inspired and written by men. That it still does not change the fact that they were written by dudes. Like that is what my issue is people want to say, oh, this and this, and they talk about it as truth. We really have no truth. We really don't. All we know is what we're experiencing now. So when people tell you to live in the present, that's all you really have. The past, it's gone. The future doesn't exist yet. You only have what you're experiencing in this moment.
No.
Enjoy it.
That is
No.
so good. I love your preach, except for the fact that some people are so naive to history. If they do not know history, they will be bound to repeat it.
I am not talking about specific. I'm not talking about.
You're just saying, like, here and now, that's what we have. Enjoy your time.
Yes, the past happened. You can learn from it. Obviously, we can record it. But you cannot do anything about the past. All you can do is change what you're doing now to make it better. That's what I'm saying. The past happened.
I think you're implying that a mass witches extinction cut is happening again.
The wrong people, though. I have a hit list, and it's not happening.
Why does it fail me?
Me too.
For anyone who doesn't know, this is some beliefs in the moon. The new moon is in Virgo. Bringing on
my
new what?
My hit list?
I'm moving on and connecting those. So I'm just saying the new moon is in Virgo. We're bringing on the change, baby. Planets are aligning.
Change.
And we're supposed to feel, specifically the next week, that energy shift in our bodies. And I'm also just saying everything around me is on fire right now. So
literally,
like, I'm in this middle of like 80 fires in California. So
you're in a safe area, though. Yes.
I mean, when I look outside, there's no fire, but like Murphy's is on fire. Chinese camp is maybe gone. I don't know. Copper is on fire. In case you haven't tried, Kana indica gummies, passion fruit. This is not a sponsored ad, but
it could be. Kana, hit us up.
That 5 milligram THC whole package is 100 milligrams, and it's taken us 5 months to get through this, so, or more. I don't know. They're great.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode of That's Peculiar. Please comment.
Subscribe.
I have so many questions. Share. And if you feel like supporting us, at the bottom of your link on Apple Podcasts and I think Spotify, you can click the link that says support us. And for $5 a month, you could help us keep this podcast afloat.
Yes. And a special shout out. I'll get her handle for the next one. We are going to have a special guest. Very soon. So I just wanted to shout her out beforehand. And she does book recommendations, and she's pretty honestly, I talk to her probably the most, and she tags us in all kinds of stuff, so it's been fun.
Well, thank you so much. We will see you, I think, in September, right?
It's September 2nd today.
No, we're seeing her this month.
Yeah, like the 13th or 16th? 19th?
16th sounds correct.
Yeah, I think it's my episode, so, but I don't know, we kind of just messed things up.
We did? Okay, well, we'll talk to you later. Bye! Bye-bye.